Hi everyone, this is Nathan here, and today we're making Turkish Mocha. This is so strong, and you all know how much I love coffee, so let's jump into it. We're going to start with the recipe we use today. All right, we are making our palm-free recipe today with organic cocoa butter, and the cocoa butter is unrefined, so it smells absolutely incredible. So our total oil weight was 3,100 grams. We've got a lye ratio of 33%. We've got a saturated to unsaturated fat ratio of 40 to 60. That's where I like to sit. I've got so I formulate my recipes and based off a few principles, and the saturated to unsaturated ratio is one I look and pay close attention to. I also pay close attention to the bottom right corner. My palmitic and stearic, I like to be equal 25%, or rather a total of 25. And then for our oils, we have olive, cocoa, shea, rice bran, coconut, castor, and avocado. I love this combination of oils. They're so awesome. And then the bottom left, we've got just the soap bar qualities. Yeah, let's get started. All right, so we're just getting our lye solution here ready. And we have a little bit of lye lint here today. I'm still looking for a container that works that I can close properly so that I can avoid the lye lint. But it's no big deal. I just strain it off a little bit. My basement is really cold, and for whatever reason, it could be my lye. I don't know. But I get a little bit of lye lint, not a ton. I find when I do more of a water discount, I do, but we're not doing a huge water discount today. So I'm just getting those in there, and I'm going to show here in a second. I think I'm actually soaping around 82 degrees right now. I normally do about 80 to 85 degrees, and I like to really keep my workspace clean as I go. And now we're just going to give it a nice stir. And I do, when I do my lye, I like to pour it in, stir it around a little bit, and then for getting to emulsion, I always do these sort of head counts to myself. We're actually at 85 degrees right now. I do like internal head counts where I count to 10, and I do it 4 times for this. I know that's not the most accurate way to do it, but I also look based off of the emulsion that I'm seeing. So I do pull it up to kind of look and see where we're at. And so it's not just strictly the amount of time in my head. It's just what I do to kind of get to the point where I'm like, yeah, this is stirred about enough. And so it's probably about 40 seconds to a minute of stick blending. It's not too much. I definitely do more stick blending in a larger batch. So if I'm just doing a single batch, I do 2 head counts, so that 2 10 counts. I keep saying head counts. 2 10 counts in my head. And I found that if you don't stick blend enough, you can get what's called invasive soda ash. And it sort of creates soda ash inside your soap, and it's not very aesthetically pleasing. And you also want to make sure that you are stick blending and getting your soaps stirred enough. Otherwise, you might run into issues where you've got a portion of your soap that is lye heavy and a portion of your soap that is not properly mixed. And you don't want lye heavy soap because you don't want you don't want to be burning your skin when you want it to be a nice gentle soap that is very moisturizing for your skin, and you don't need lotion. Just get out of the shower and your skin is loving it. So we've got our stick blending done, and I always make a mess when I do this. I know you can use a spatula and wipe it off or whatever, but I for whatever reason I've been resisting it because I try and move really quickly. So this one was kind of a complicated pour, only from the aspect of the sequencing of these items. So I wanted to add all of this coffee, which is super dark. So this was 4-to-1 ratio of actual coffee to water. So it was 4 parts water, 1 part coffee. And that's super strong. And I boiled it just for a few. I didn't like boil it. So how you make Turkish coffee, I'm not like the expert, but based off of my research, is I didn't have the appropriate, I think it's called an ibrik. And so I used a saucepan and I put the water, distilled water in with the coffee, and I brought it just to a slight simmer. And so you get this gorgeous like oil sitting on top. And it was nice and thick and delicious. And then I strained it off because I know that Turkish coffee has the grounds remain in it. Man, it was so strong. So you can see the sequencing here. I added the coffee to everything. I stirred it up. I poured off some because we're adding Turkish Mocha from Brambleberry to this one. And this is going to turn the soap batter very dark. So that we poured off earlier is not going to discolor. And it's not scented, which is fine because you don't really notice it, to be honest. The entire soap sort of is going to just smell like coffee. It's really interesting. Plus, this is also with natural organic cocoa butter, which already kind of has a pretty strong scent that pushes through. So this is going to be a very chocolatey coffee soap. And so I poured off that the scented batter right there. And then I poured in, this is cocoa powder, which has been pre-mixed with olive oil. And so I pour that in, and it doesn't really change the color much yet. So really my goal here was to make 3 batter colors. You've got unscented and uncolored. So that's going to be the lighter color batter. And then I poured off some, and this is going to turn a dark brown. And then I added cocoa powder to this batter. So I wanted to create 3 separate colors. They're probably not going to be a huge color difference, but that's okay. So I'm pouring off a little bit here because I want to have the 3 colors, because my original intention here is I was going to do a one pot wonder drop swirl with this. And so I set out to do that, but as I was pouring these off, you'll see in a second, I had to make a decision change kind of on the fly because the batter was starting to set up a little bit more than I really wanted. And so when you're doing a one pot wonder, you want your batter to be relatively fluid. And so I just made the executive decision to just, rather than fight it and potentially mess up the design, I just changed to a full drop swirl with the 3 different soap batters. And I actually think that's going to make a really cool effect. I really do. But right now, all the batter is like a light coffee color, I guess, like a latte color. But, oh man, it's going to darken up like a lot. And that's what I'm really excited about, because the color change on some of these fragrances is amazing. So you can see I'm pouring this in, preparing to do a one pot wonder, and it's actually thicker than I really want. And so I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to get all of these in and then do the drop swirl that I want. So I make this decision here. And sometimes you just got to be ready to do it. You just have to be ready to change your design on the fly. And so I'm always ready to do just a plain drop swirl. But plain drop swirl doesn't mean it has to be boring, right? So we're doing 3 different colors. And I think there should be slight variations between them. And there is a slight amount of coffee grounds in here, because when I strained it, I didn't want to strain it like completely. So, but I also don't like a scratchy soap. I really don't. A lot of people don't like scratchy soaps. So there's just a touch of the coffee grounds, which I'm really excited and happy about. So I go back and forth here with drop swirls, and the unscented batter is still like way more fluid compared to the other batters. And so it just goes to show that, you know, your fragrance that you add, even if it behaves really well, can sometimes, it obviously moves faster than an unscented batter. So that's why I haven't used Turkish Mocha in a while. And so some fragrances are decelerators. So one of my favorite is lavender and cedar from Brambleberry. That one I feel stays fluid forever. So as I tap that, I'm like, that is the one right there that is more fluid than the others, and it's the unscented batter. So I'm just going back and forth with drop swirls here. And I can't wait for this color change. It's going to be so cool. If you've never used a super color changing fragrance before, it's really cool to see the color change. And so this, when I looked, has almost a 12% vanilla content. So it's going to smell amazing. And then I'm like, okay, well, I need to do my back and forth pattern here because that's what I do. And I like a swirly top. And so I'm just pouring them back and forth, kind of creating lines here. And then I'm going to do the same with the other two thicker batters, but they're really thick right now. Well, I wouldn't say super thick. They're not super pourable though. So it makes it a little bit harder to do that design. But I got enough in there that it's still gonna look really cool. And so again, when it discolors, I'm hoping that we're gonna have 3 separate color. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of a color variation between the one with the cocoa powder in it and just the scented batter, because that scented batter is gonna turn dark brown. But if there's just a little bit of variation, I'll be happy with it. That was my goal. And then the light colored one will obviously stay more of a latte color. We're just getting those lines set up. This smells so good. Like it is. So I've tried a bunch of coffee scents, and I would say my 2 favorite are caramel latte or caramel coffee from Nurture Soap and this Turkish Mocha. And I think it's because people set out to make coffee soaps, and when they do, they want it to smell like fresh brewed coffee. And I just don't think that that's really possible. But the way I like my coffee is I always like it sweet. I like it with chocolate. I like it with sugar. And so the caramel coffee and the Turkish Mocha definitely give me those vibes. So it's vanilla, chocolate, and yummy. So we went back and forth. And then I wasn't sure what to do here, but I was like, let's just do some squiggles, right? And I've never done this before. And I actually really like how it looks because we kind of created one big squiggle. And I think it looks really cool. You guys will have to let me know what you think. Overall, I'm really happy with how these turned out in the mold, even though we had to make a change from what our original thought was. But these are going to be cut tomorrow, and I just can't wait to see the color change. I know I was talking a lot about it in this live video, and we made this live on Instagram earlier today, but there were some issues with recording it sideways, but look at how that looks. I cannot wait. This is going to be so cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.